Welcome to Immaculate Heart Radio's Gift of Life with Tony Berry.
My guest today is John McAnally, and he is the founder and president of Life is Conception Company. And he's got really a fascinating story. I heard him recently on a couple of programs. I think you'd called into Janet Benkovic's program.
Right.
And fascinating story. So why don't you share with our listeners what this company is and what you do and what your story is?
Okay. Well, the first thing, our company is Conception is Life, and I am the president and co-founder. I'm John McAnally. And it's really all started the week after the election of the president. I had been in adoration. I have a regular adoration time. I've been doing that for 6 years.
Oh, wonderful.
And at that point, that week, I was really dark and depressed and asking God a lot of questions. And the main one is why. I don't understand. You know, I really looked at this as possibly the chance to overturn Roe versus Wade and, you know, get the new Supreme Court justices. And then it just really didn't go our way. And so I was really, really upset. You know, I was complaining to God a lot and asking him why. And I even told my wife that week because I really don't want to go to adoration this week. I don't feel like it. And her being a great wife said, you know, you really need to go. This is when you need it the most. And so I went. And I looked at Christ in the Eucharist, and I asked him why. I don't understand why the unborn have to continue to die. And I was crying. I had these tears streaming down my face. And I bent my head, and I looked at this other bracelet I was wearing at the time, which is a saint bracelet. A lot of people know what those are. And instead of seeing the saints, I saw babies developing in the womb. Now, I don't think the bracelet physically changed, but in my mind, what I saw were babies developing in the womb. And so I looked up at Christ in the Eucharist, and I said, if this is what you want me to do, I will do it. I will take it as far as you'll lead me. And that deep, dark depression changed from depression to this overwhelming joy. And it was all I could do to stay in the Adoration Chapel, because I really wanted to get out there and start screaming to the world. I was like, you know, I think I found something that could really help out. But I did stay for that hour. And so I went back, and I talked to my wife, and I said, you know, I think I have this idea that came to me in adoration, and the first sign that this was going to happen was she said yes, because it kind of meant that we were going to use our money to fund this. And so I looked online to make sure, you know, there wasn't anything out there like this, and actually ended up going to a patent attorney for them to check it out and doing all that kind of the patent work for that. And there wasn't anything out there, so began the work and had to find the pictures, and I had to find somebody to help me with the company because I'm a biologist. I work in a research lab, and I have no idea, you know, how to market anything or how to even begin the production. So I found all those through God's will. And it was actually 9 months from the moment that I saw that in adoration to the moment that we got our first good shipment of bracelets in. And I don't think that was by coincidence.
No, I think you're
really
right.
think God has been sending us signals all along that we're on the right path and we're doing what he wishes. And so that's really the start of how the bracelets came to be, and since then we've expanded. We've got 8 different products now, all centered around the unborn.
That's incredible. Yeah. You know, I know when I first read your story, and I thought, you know, this is the way he works. He takes somebody, you know, we have nothing, no knowledge, no experience, and says, I want you to do this. But, you know, he provides all along the way.
Right.
You know, you found someone to help you. You found everything that you needed to get this going. That's amazing.
Yeah, the guy I found to help me, it was funny because since I've been working with a patent attorney, he was kind of telling me, you need to keep it a little quiet until we've gotten the patent submitted. And then you can talk about it all you want because you will have submitted it already. So when I was at the church and I was talking with all of my friends, and he happened to be there, and I was telling him what had happened, and he immediately got this big glow on his face, and he was like, that is an awesome idea, and I think I can help you.
Oh, wow.
And so it was less than a week later, he brought me this 3-ring binder just full of ideas of, you know, you need to talk to these people and contact these people. At that point, it's like, this was the person I was supposed to ask to be my partner in all this, and luckily he said yes, and it turns out he had several reasons of his own dealing with pro-life, that he was so profoundly pro-life. But like you had said, and God chooses sometimes the people that you least expect to do it. I mean, in my mind, it would be like, wow, why didn't he call like one of the Priests for Life people or something else? Because I really had very little experience in being in the heart of the pro-life work as far as running a company for pro-life or even a website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's how God works. I mean, He called a little girl to bring about Christ.
Yeah.
So,
Well, He doesn't call the qualified; He qualifies those He calls.
exactly.
One of my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
It's amazing though how He does that. So you found your partner, and that's just great. And another person that was had a very heart for pro-life work, and wonderful.
Right.
So you've got the company going, and I know you have a fantastic website because I've been to it.
Yes.
You have these bracelets. I've seen these saint bracelets all the time.
Right.
And when I saw this, I thought, wow, that's a great idea. Why didn't anybody ever think of that before?
Well, that's kind of what I thought, because we've been doing pro-life work for 40 years. We've been praying
Yes.
constantly and raising money and getting crisis pregnancy centers. And so when I first saw that, I was like, wow, God, that's a great idea, but it's probably already out there.
I mean, you'd think so, wouldn't you? Because it seemed
You would
like
think so, right?
obvious.
But it wasn't. And so I was like, wow, God, I guess I'm the one that's going to do this.
That's fantastic. I mean, he has, something that he calls each of us to do that he feels that only we can do. And it just never ceases to amaze me. Now, the photos that you have some of those on your website.
The photos are of the unborn. So the bracelet is 12 images.
Beautiful.
And I talk about the bracelet because it's the very first thing. It's what I saw in adoration. But it starts with conception, and then it goes to the blast assist, and then it's 2 7-week-old pictures. One is of the full body, and one is of a close-up of the baby sucking his thumb.
Beautiful.
And then an 8-week-old baby, and then a 12-week-old foot, and then a 12-week-old hand, and then a 14-week-old baby, and that baby is surrounded in the uterus. And then a 16-week-old baby, full body, and then a 16-week-old baby's face, and then a 20-week-old baby's body, and a 20-week-old baby's face.
Beautiful.
And the 20-week-old baby, I often tell people, that's an image you can blow up, put it on your mantle, and people will think that's your newborn child. But yet this is a baby that is still being aborted.
Absolutely. And, it speaks so clearly. A picture, worth 1,000 words,
Yeah.
like you say on your website. So very true. And these could be really valuable tools, I would imagine, for folks that are out there, sidewalk counselors, 40 Days for Life, people that are out there at the clinics,
Right.
reaching out to people.
Well, what I always tell people is, think about the last time you saw the unborn out in public. The only times I can really think of are 40 Days for Life and marches and rallies.
Yes.
The March for Life or a Rally for Life. And they really need, if we're going to win this war, we have to get these babies out there. The pictures speak so much more clearly than any words that you and I can say. And we can spend all day talking to somebody who is abortion-minded and saying, your baby has arms and legs and things like that. But when you show them a picture of a baby at 7 weeks and that baby is fully formed,
yes,
that's just the impact that makes a big difference. And we've had several cases where that is exactly what happened. Someone would walk in to a crisis pregnancy center, and somebody had a bracelet, happened to have one, and I showed her baby, and it was like instant, I can't abort my baby. We had a story of a person around here who had been going to the dentist, and that dentist had a friend who was told by her doctor that her baby was had all these problems and that she should just abort the baby because the baby wasn't going to live anyway. And so she didn't know what to do and was talking to her dentist about it. Well, that dentist took the person who came in gave the bracelet to the dentist, and that dentist took the bracelet and gave it to her friend, and that was just enough to keep that person from aborting her child. And it turns out a week later, the doctor said they made a mistake.
Oh, yes, that happens.
It happens all the time. We just need the pause for them to, think clearly and think, there's people that will help you. There are lots of groups out there that all they want to do is help you, and they will give you the money for your car payment if that's what it is, or whatever the problem is. There's nothing too big that we can't fix.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't need to abort your child.
No, you don't. And I know, the fact that the medical profession, sometimes in these diagnostic testing, they make mistakes. They did with my own child.
They do.
Diagnosed a severe problem with him, and fortunately they were wrong. But, how many times have babies been aborted on nothing more than a mistaken diagnosis?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, several of our stories come from that. We had another story where a woman came into a crisis pregnancy center because her doctor said that she was at high risk for Down syndrome, which is kind of misleading because high risk can mean anything.
Yes.
And it does not mean that your baby has Down. It just means that it could be, your age range makes you a higher risk candidate or whatever. not that is ever a reason to abort, because the Down syndrome babies, I've found, have the most love in their heart for their parents.
They're wonderful.
Any other child. The Crisis Pregnancy Center showed them her baby, and she immediately decided, I can't abort my child. But these are all women that most of the time they have no idea that their baby is fully formed. They've been told all their lives, your baby's a blob of tissue, and so they have no idea. They're scared, and whatever we have to do, I think is worth it.
Oh, absolutely. And another tool for these bracelets that I can think of is youth groups.
Yeah.
What a wonderful way for our young people. We have some pro-life young people out there in the secular high schools and things
Right.
to wear these. Here they are. And, I know myself with little feet and my little keychains and things, people notice.
Yes.
You're grocery shopping and they say, oh, I love your keychain that's on your purse. It's, right there. So it opens the door and you tell them, oh, yeah, this is a, 10-week unborn child. They're amazed.
They are amazed. The very first day I got mine and was wearing it, I went to Starbucks and was getting a coffee, and the person there noticed it. So it really does work, and
it does.
Very rare that somebody doesn't notice it as I'm walking around in public. So.
And the thing that I love about this, and I know we show the abortion pictures, and I know that it's necessary for people to see what abortion is, but I love the fact that on the fetal development, how can anybody object? And it is so incredibly, miraculously beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, these are beautiful. These are the living images of the babies. They are really beautiful children.
Oh, they are. And, you just have to marvel at how incredibly, wondrously made we truly are.
We really are. We are truly and wonderfully made.
Mm-hmm. Now, how about the pro-life pins? Those came along. What was the inspiration on that?
So the pro-life pins, we chose 3 different ages, 7, 11, and 20 weeks. And
They're beautiful.
The pro-life pins we chose because there's some men that they don't want to wear bracelets, understandably.
Sure, yeah,
but
absolutely.
a pin you can put on your jacket or whatever, and that also
Tie-tack,
gets
maybe?
noticed. The reason for the 7-week-old is 7 weeks is about the time that a mother starts thinking, I might be pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Before then, she's probably thinking that, I've missed my period, but it'll come along any week. And then she comes to the realization. And so if she's going to seek an abortion, that may be the first time she goes. 11 weeks was because sometimes these women do not have the money to get the abortion. So it may take them a few weeks to get the money to go get an abortion. So 11 weeks is there to remind them that you have a baby. And then 20 weeks is about the end of where a lot of doctors don't want to do abortions because it's kind of late term at that point. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the crisis, the panic of I've got to go get my abortion or whatever. So the reasons we chose for those ages were because those are pertinent, those are critical times with a lot of women.
Beautiful.
So we're trying to catch them as best we can.
These are really nice pins. It says they're just a little shorter than 1 inch high.
Right.
They're beautiful, and I love the pictures. Men could use them for tie-tack.